pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, although it's not on my report, I just wanted to thank all of the parents, guardians, school committee members, and members of the general public who came last night to hear Chris Sullivan speak. He did a fantastic job, and we had a great turnout last night, even though it was a cold winter's night. There was a lot of things for people to do, but I just really want to say thank you to, obviously, the Boys and Girls Club. They're the ones who sponsored the event, especially Chris Duane, who is the president and CEO. Also to Kathy Leonard, who helped organize and is personal friends of the Sullivans and assisted us with making this happen. And obviously Mayor Vigent for continuing to advocate for more education to the community on substance abuse. And I really just think it was a good night, and we had a great day. The grades 6, 7, and 8 all were able to hear Mr. Sullivan speak, and I really look forward to continuing to put on these types of events.
I've heard him before, and he does a great job. He's such a down-to-earth guy.
Yep.
Some of them get on a little pedestal, but he's just a nice guy. I had the opportunity to talk to him for a while the last time he spoke in Marlborough, and the superintendent told me if I didn't go last night and get everyone sick, that he would say I did a good job. So I appreciate that. But I just want to say that anytime these programs come available, I want them put on. Don't worry about the money. I mean, it's that important. So I appreciate you guys doing it, and keep it up.
Thank you. My second item on the agenda is that we are in our draft phases of our strategy for improvement. So I'm just sharing our major objectives and priorities. I'd like to thank all of our lead teachers and my leadership team for their efforts over the past 4 months to focus on this and to take the big ideas and make them as realistic as possible. The strategy was born from my entry plan and the district review that was performed last year. The district review was the DESE report that came in and gave us additional information on items that we can certainly work on. The ideas and priorities presented are absolutely a reflection of what I saw, what I heard, and what I was asked of by our faculty. So when we look at the objectives, a lot of what you'll see in the priorities are absolutely things that I presented to you last year from my entry plan. You know, the priorities for creating the conditions for success, first and foremost, expand seats in early education. We need to create additional opportunities for economically disadvantaged students in the preschool. We need to support class sizes at the early grades, K through 3, that encourages social and academic learning. Identify and implement a menu of non-traditional academic opportunities for at-risk students to successfully graduate high school and ensure early career supports for new educators. Not only are those all things that I heard in the entry plan, but all of these priorities are backed by tremendous amounts of research that this works in low-income districts. So if you have a preponderance of low-income students, these are things that will change and improve your achievement over time. When we look at the next set, develop a definition of common educational experiences. First and foremost, this has been something we're working on for some time, identifying and implementing common curriculum experiences across grade levels, supporting at-risk students through comprehensive interventions, developing clear expectations for professional learning communities, developing project-based learning opportunities that are rigorous and relevant for all students, and incorporating technology into meaningful educational experiences. When I look at these, this might be something that in my next round of draft that I bring to you, there might be some commonalities between some of these priorities, so we might go from 5 to 4, just to bring it down to a more manageable set of priorities for the district so we can carry them forward. But I look at all of these, and this has been very important for our work, especially adding a 4th elementary school. So having a common curriculum experience is very important for parents because they want to know that no matter what school they're going to be going to, that they're going to have a common Marlborough experience in all the schools. You know, we've had incredible success and luck in some ways, and it's been fantastic with the amount of infrastructure we've been able to build with our technology plans. And every year we've been able to continue to invest in that. And really what I'm looking for is to make sure that as we continue to build this infrastructure, that we also are, it has to be meaningful educational experiences. It can't be games and it can't be something. It has to be meaningful to the actual education. So having Chromebooks and iPads and the biggest internet connection in the world is all great, except it has to come back to what is good teaching and good learning. And how do we make sure that we're using these devices in the best way possible? We have been talking about project-based learning for years. It's been the backbone of a lot of the programs we've been trying to develop. For us, developing clear expectations for PLCs, that's also to give people a very good guideline for what should be happening in PLCs across the district. So that way there's not 100 different definitions of what is to be expected of people. It's about creating clear expectations. We have been investing in intervention systems across the district. I think what we need to do is make sure we can tell people what's available. So that way when teachers are looking for that tier 2 and tier 3 level of supports, that they know what they can go to in some ways. And we have a lot, but we need to make it available, and we need to let people know how we can best utilize it. When we talk about inclusive and supportive schools, I'm the first to admit we need to do a better job strengthening relationships in the community. I think when we look at the work that's been done over the past 4 months to look at this topic, we do a lot of inbound. We don't do a lot of outbound. We need to start thinking about this in a different way. So instead of continuing to have nights where we invite people in, we need to start thinking about how we're going to get the message out and how we're going to go to where the community is and represent that. Probably the #1 thing on my entry plan was behavioral expectations, frustrations from faculty, and how are we going to make sure that our learning environment is supported. And that's why this is a priority for us. We need to look at this differently. I think the team that took this one on did a very deep dive into our data as well and looked at our suspension data, looked at our, what is going on in the schools right now, and have crafted a PD plan and some expectations that I believe can really help us with this priority moving forward, whether it's looking at restorative justice as a model for the district, and otherwise, how do we train people to have better classroom management in some ways, and then what do our administrators need to do to support that? Because at the end of the day, if you don't feel supported, it's going to lead to frustration. And what I heard in my entry plan was a lot of frustration. Strengthen and expand wraparound services. This is something we actually invest a lot of money in. We have contracts with our local collaborative for multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars to support social work and to support families. And what we need to do is clarify how we do the work and then look at where the gaps are so we can continue to strengthen our relationship with families who need it the most. So there's long-term goals, there's short-term goals, and what you're going to see when we develop this and place it into the budget is all of the budget requests are also going to be based off these priorities. So not every priority in here needs financial support. Sometimes it's time. We need to invest time into them. So further details and plans of each will be laid out in the budget document, and I'll share the link for the Google Doc when we have it in our final draft format so we can all look at it. So redistricting meetings. The following schedule is set, and I've asked Patty to send this out to everybody. So February 5th will be at the Richard PTO at 6 p.m. February 12th will be at the Kane PTO at 6:30 p.m. March 3rd, we're meeting with LPAC at 7 p.m. And March 4th, we'll be meeting with the JARG PTO at 6:30 p.m. Just today, Patty also scheduled the preschool. And I believe that's March 26th, but she sent you an email today about that as well. I'd like to schedule, if it's possible, maybe we have to go in front of the planning board as well to look at what, give them the plan and ask them for any feedback that they should be giving us on housing starts and or construction, so I can know what that is and we can start to plan for the future. It would be an optional thing, but I think it'd be a good thing for us to at least show it to them and get some feedback. And this is the start of us to gather feedback on the redistricting process. We did have one small meeting with a small focus group just to get some feedback. We're going to alter our presentation a little bit and get ready to go out to parents and get as much feedback as possible from anyone. Although it's not on my report, I do want to mention that I am going to be bringing the school calendar much earlier, only because there's some complications with the late start of Labor Day. Just so you know, though, whatever we do, if we do want to start the year on the 24th of August instead of the 31st, we do have to bring that to the MEA negotiations team, or at least give them notice so we can impact bargain over that, because the contract is very specific about the start day, and we have to respect that. And I just want to make sure that whatever I bring to you is with knowledge that we will have to bring it to that table as well. So that's my report for tonight.
Thank you. Any questions for the superintendent? Ms. Hennessy.
More of just a comment that I really do appreciate the objectives and the priorities that you've outlined here. And actually, absolutely no surprises, because as you pointed out, we've been having a lot of different discussions about many of these different items, whether it be MTSS, you know, for interventions that have been happening, or discussions around it, the PLCs, which you all have been working on now for a while. And I am really happy to actually see with 3 the clarifying behavioral expectations, because I do know that, you know, that is a conversation that needs to be had, that there is follow through on different issues, but that we really have to clarify what those expectations are to make sure that the follow through is appropriate. So thank you. I appreciate this.
And that's a space where the law has changed.
Yeah.
And the law has changed in a significant way.
Exactly.
And we don't always do a great job of communicating to all of our staff and our faculty about how that has changed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a piece of that is making sure that everyone understands that the new laws have been put in place and what it means for school districts. So that's a part of it, but that's just one small piece of it, that to create an understanding of the whole role.
Mm-hmm.
So,
thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, Mr. Diaz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is tonight's update from Finance and Operations, starting with food services. Our negative balances in food services are currently at a negative $4,300 compared to a negative balance of just under $3,200 at the same period last year. 2 years ago, we were at about $2,300, so we're seeing some significant rises in that number. So what are we doing about it? So what we've done in the past couple of weeks is we've brought some communication efforts into central office. There's somebody within the Finance and Operation office making calls on my behalf, just trying to find out what the barriers are out there and what we can do to assist families in bringing this balance up to date. I also spoke to 2 of the principals whose schools are struggling a little bit more this year. And they're also concerned about this number, and they're seeing some significant increase in need at their schools. And one thing that they're doing that's a little bit creative is that they're actually reaching out to some businesses in the community to see if they would like to participate in making a donation towards this need. So I am confident that in the months to come, this will be a much better number in front of you. Okay. Happy news, on January 10th, the staff over at Whitcomb served over 1,000 lunches. This was a record high for us. About 70% of the children participated on that day in lunch. And the staff there are incredibly proud of this, which is why I wanted to share it with the community, with the committee. If you're wondering what the lunch was, it was nachos and carrot cake, which is apparently a very popular day. Additionally, in food services, our chef manager, John, is working with the staff across the district to develop a new menu that is hopefully going to be rolling out in the coming months. As always, the new items are aimed at broadening options, expanding student palettes, and increased participation. Already this year, we're seeing an increase in participation, and we want to ride that wave and get participation to increase even further. Facilities. So over at the high school, we replaced, over the December break, We replaced the Marlborough High School field house curtain, which was much needed. And we also finished the roll-up doors in the kitchen there. So finally wrapping up that project completely. These were two much-needed projects over at Marlborough High. And as always, we thank Andy White and Commissioner Galloni for their continued efforts in always improving our buildings for us. Lastly, construction update of our new elementary building. At this meeting last year, I gave the committee an update that we were ordering steel. Fast forward 1 year, and it's been a very successful year.
We're ordering toilet paper.
Very soon. We are ordering tables. It's been a very successful year. Our partners at the construction site have been incredible. And I'm just happy to report that the building is fully enclosed, and the majority of the building is already receiving finishing touches, painting, tiles, flooring, which is great. We're currently ahead of schedule, and substantial completion is scheduled for early April at this time.
And we should mention that it is under budget as well.
And it's under budget as well. And that completes my report.
Questions for the Manager of Finance and Operations and Assistant Superintendent of Numbers? Any questions? Thank you very much. Minutes of the January 6, 2020 meeting.
Motion to accept.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Minutes of the January 14th, 2020 meeting.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Public participation. Any public participation? Public participation. Seeing none. Action items. MHS Student Council Conference approval.
I'm here to seek approval and support for the Marlborough High School delegation, I guess, the students who have committed to participating in the leadership conference field trip overnight in Hyannis. Turn it on?
Uh-oh.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Do it all over again? Did you guys receive the description of, okay, I didn't know if you had any questions or what else I can do to kind of outline what the experience is supposed to be.
Questions from the committee? Senator.
I just need to let everyone know I need to recuse myself because my daughter is actually one of the people that would be potentially participating on this, so I won't be voting on it, but I think it's a worthy thing.
We have participated in the last 3 trips, so this is something that we have done. It's a great opportunity for the students at Marlborough High. I fully support this.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion made, seconded to approve. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much. To FY20 operating budget transfers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a few operating budget transfers for the committee to consider tonight, starting over at ECC, where we're requesting $6,500 to be transferred from the ECC Behavior Tech and the Marlborough High substitute line to offset overages in the clerk and substitute lines at ECC. Over at Kane, we're requesting a transfer of $26,170, in which we're utilizing salary reserve funds to offset overages in a para-educator line due to a building-specific need, as well as the principal line. At Jarwick, we're requesting $2,950, utilizing the behavior tech line to offset overages in special education teacher, principal, and 10-month clerk lines. At Whitcomb, a $4,400 transfer being requested, in which we're utilizing the behavior tech line to offset overages in student activity, guidance, clerk, as well as the teacher lines, reading teacher line. At Marlborough High, we're requesting a transfer of $3,400, utilizing savings in the foreign language teacher account to offset overages in math teacher, clerk, custodian OT, and mileage. District-wide, we're requesting $16,000 to be transferred from the district-wide analyst account to offset overages in contractor services, night custodian, conference, and copy machine maintenance lines. Pupil services. So what's in front of you is a large transfer request. Let me explain. The first line is a transfer in which we're collapsing 2 transportation accounts into one. That makes more reporting sense for us. So we're just requesting to combine those 2 accounts. The account that we're no longer using is called Transportation Public Day, which indicates it's a public day account instead of a special education account. So we're just putting those 2 accounts together. The second half of that request is for $700,000, in which we're utilizing those funds to offset some overages in other special education account, primarily in the collaborative tuition account. Those funds are going to be coming from the circuit breaker account, and that is a planned expense for us out of circuit breaker. And that's all.
Any questions from the committee? We didn't see any mid-year tuition hikes, right?
We're receiving notices now for hikes for next year.
Okay, nothing mid-year. I remember a couple of years ago, we got hit with that.
No.
No, I'm seeing an average of about 2.68%.
Okay.
That was what I saw from OSD, but there's a lot of special education placements that are asking for review, which means that they're asking for higher than that.
Good.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you.
Contract. You the contract lady? Oh, we're gonna do goals first? All right. School committee FY20 goals. Can we wait till the next meeting?
We can.
Can I make a motion to table that until the next
Table
meeting?
that until the next regularly scheduled meeting. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Contract lady.
Contract lady. So tonight I'm presenting for approval the contract between the school committee and Mrs. Murphy, Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, which currently ends on June 30th with an extension to June 30th, 2020 to June 30th of 2025.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Congratulations. Thank you. Policies.
Policy hour? Okay, we'll do it quickly, just for you.
Sit back.
Yeah, sit back. We've been busy. So, first up would be a policy that was brought before you, I believe, at the December 10th meeting, where we were looking for this policy to be removed. Essentially, it's not something that we really needed to have within our policy manual. So I would like to make a motion for removal of policy number 2.445, submission of proposed measures to voters.
Motion made and seconded to remove policy 2.445. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you. So, next up, we would have, I'd like to make a motion to approve the, oh wait, sorry guys. I'm gonna, yeah. These would be the first read items that are moving forward for approvals. So the first one would be policy point 3.320, line and staff relations. As outlined, there are a number of different crossouts, as well as the additions or corrections would be in red. You've had this to review since December 10th, so I'd like to make a motion to approve.
No, we have not. These are the ones that you're giving us first read now.
Oh, we did it different, okay, sorry. She did it backwards, different than I thought. My apologies.
You can list out all your first reads now, then we can do approvals.
Sounds good. So, okay. So then the policies for first reads, reviews, or removals. Okay, so it would be policy 3.320, line and staff relations, just like I was actually articulating where they're the crossouts and the reds. Policy 3.410, adjustments and transfers to the budget. You will notice then there is policy 3.410 form, and there's a Form A and a Form B, and we're looking for basically a removal of 2 forms and an acceptance of a form that we are currently using.
Yeah. And 5 years ago, the reason we're looking for this, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
no,
you.
that's okay.
5 years ago, we adopted the same transfer form that the city uses.
Right.
And we've been using it ever since. It seems to work, and it seems to be seamless with the city auditor, so.
Exactly. So we're looking for consistency across the board, and so with that, that's why we're looking at removals as well. Because we don't need something that we're not really going to be utilizing. Then we would move forward to policy 3.550, committee review of administration rules, protocols. Then we have another one, which is policy 3.590, school district annual report. And just on that, as a heads up, is that basically our budget is similar to an annual report basis, and we do it on an annual basis. So that's what we're really aiming towards. Policy 3.650, really we're looking at moving the wording here that would be more appropriate towards concessions as opposed to the vendors situation. Policy 3.670, reimbursement requests. Policy 3.810, acceptance of gifts and donations and grants. Policy 7.150, around athletics. 7.160, athletic concussion. Policy 7.160A, sports-related concussion / MTBI protocol. Policy 7.180, athletic and activity eligibility. And as well, then policy 7.950, high school promotion graduation requirements. So as you can tell, we definitely took a lot on here. Most of them, as you will tell, are in chapter 3, as we're trying to just really clean up the policy book. And under the athletic portions, many of the athletic policies really need to be reviewed a year or two each year to make sure we're meeting the state requirements. And the high school promotion graduation requirements as well. We had a full review with Mr. Riley on trying to clean up some of the language appropriate to how things are needing to be run with the addition of some of the programs that we have and making sure that we were meeting credit requirements appropriately. So that's what's going on there. Obviously, should you have any specific questions, please feel free to reach out to me in the meantime so I can answer things individually, but there's been a lot of work done on this. So that's that for your review. Would we like to move on to approvals? Okay, so yeah, we'll go again. Next would be the policies for approvals. I'd like to make a motion to approve policy 2.600, adoption and revision of policies. Again, any of the crossouts are noted, and then additions or revisions are in red.
Motion made and seconded to approve policy number 2.600. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Oh, wait, sorry.
You don't have a spelling error.
No, it's not a spelling error. I just realized I wrote things in 2 different places, and I apologize because I did have a comment on that one.
Okay.
And now where did it go? Oh. No. Sorry. Go ahead, forget it.
You let me know.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. Where did?
Number 2.
Okay, so policy
Okay.
2.610, which is administration in policy absence. And really, we only have 1 strikeout there. So I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve policy number 2.610. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you very much. So next would be policy 2.615, school committee policy development. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve policy number 2.615. Any discussion? Ms. Matthews?
This is just a comment that in the first sentence, it says writing so that they may serve as guides. Should it be more guidelines?
we can certainly change that. I mean, we tried to not change anything more than really necessary, but can we change it to guidelines? Yeah, I mean, it means the same thing, and I really have no issue with that, if the committee would like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so make a motion with the amendment.
Motion made and seconded to approve as amended. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to make a motion to approve policy 2.620, which is committee review of administration rules. So.
Motion made and seconded to approve policy number 2.620. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you very much. Next would be, I'd like to make a motion to approve policy 2.810, school committee member orientation.
Motion made and seconded to approve policy number 2.810. Any discussion?
Just
Yep.
just a question.
Yep.
Are you changing, you have this title here, but then you have, under the policy, it says new committee member orientation.
It really should be,
Shouldn't it be the same?
yeah, it should be the same across. So, I believe it had been school committee member orientation. So I can go consistent on it. Which would you prefer? I mean, school committee member orientation is what I would
Yeah,
suggest,
yeah.
as opposed to new.
Yeah.
You could always reference the MASC policy and see what they say.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Good?
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Motion made and seconded to approve as amended. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
thank you for that catch. Policy 2.820, which is committee member development opportunities. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Mrs. Matthews?
Just catching the renumbering.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wasn't changing it until after, since I was doing a cross-out, but thank you, yes.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
So I'd like to make a motion for approval of policy number 2.840, reimbursement for expenses.
Motion made and seconded to approve policy number 2.840. Any discussion? Mrs. Matthews?
Just silly, but should the policies that it's referring to be in numerical order?
Sure. And those two policies, just so you know, are actually going to come to you at the next meeting. So it just, from a getting done timeframe. But yes, I can switch that around to be
Just
numerically
when you read
in
them.
order for you. Works for
Any
you?
further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion for approval of policy 3.220, appointment of the superintendent of schools.
Motion made and seconded to approve policy number 3.220. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you. And I'd like to make a motion for approval of policy 3.300, administrative organizational plan, and I think I'll make a little bit of spelling changes because there's little spelling errors on there.
X marks the spot.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Motion made and seconded to approve policy number 3.300. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Donations and gifts, Raz Plus Reading Program, parent donation, Richard School, $212.45.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
And this is for the superintendent, in the conversation of when we accept grants and things, and this is similar to MEF and when we evaluate things that are given as enrichment, to schools, does this fall under it or does it not? Or I know when MEF was talking about or looking at some of the grants, we didn't want to overstep what may be a program that should be implemented, should not be implemented, should be across the board as opposed to just in one building. You know, that was my only concern. I think it's wonderful that a parent's donating, and I wouldn't want to prevent that and stop that, but I would encourage that it be for all.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point. Sometimes in these programs, what happens is the parent might be somehow connected to the company and can get a free trial or can get something like that for a period of time for the school, which is never a bad thing. And we do occasionally pilot programs in one school to see if it has value for us and if we want to move forward with it. So
I guess so my concern is that it's
Yeah.
under the purview of that, exactly that.
But if it was something that we didn't really see a lot of value, we wouldn't bring it forward to school committee.
Okay,
We would
perfect.
decline. We don't decline almost anything.
No,
because almost everything is
I
a
get
good
that.
thing.
I get that. Okay.
But point
Motion's
taken
right.
on making sure that we don't have a series of programs that are only for one school or another, that if we think it's good for kids, we're going to get it for everybody.
Thank you. On the motion to approve, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Reports of subcommittees. Ms. Hennessy.
Thank you. Well, we have another policy meeting coming up later on this week because we're just trying to keep on going. And we will be moving forward on the committee goals as we discussed during our workshop, closing out hopefully some of Chapter 3, so that will be done. Yay. And then moving on to Chapter 4 and Chapter 5. So just wanted to let you all know. That's it.
Thank you. Any other subcommittees? Seeing none, members forum. Ms. Matthews.
I reviewed the warrant, signed the warrant, and all set.
Thank you very much. Any other members? Seeing none.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made, seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Thank you very much.